The champagne glass shattered against the marble floor. Sarah stood in the center of their penthouse living room, her designer heels crunching the shards beneath her feet, her face twisted with disgust as she pointed at the man sitting calmly on the couch. "I'm ashamed of you, Mark," she spat, her voice cutting through the silence like a blade. "You hear me? Ashamed. You're way below my level. You always have been." Mark didn't flinch. He simply looked at her, really looked at her, like he was seeing someone he didn't recognize anymore. "I worked my way up from nothing," Sarah continued, her voice rising, "while you sat around pretending your little job meant something. I'm the one with the career. I'm the one people respect. And you're just there, a weight around my ankle." She grabbed her purse, her hands shaking with rage. "I'm done pretending we're equals. We never were." The door slammed behind her. Mark sat alone in the wreckage of their marriage, the echo of her words hanging in the air. Then his phone buzzed. One notification. Account updated. $47 million. He smiled, just a little. Before we dive into how we got here, hit that like button if you've ever felt underestimated. And stay until the end, because what happens next will blow your mind. Trust me, let me take you back. Back to when things were different. Back to when Sarah actually smiled at Mark like he mattered. They met 7 years ago at a coffee shop in downtown Chicago. Sarah was a junior account manager at a marketing firm, always rushing, always stressed, always 3 emails behind. Mark was sitting by the window with his laptop, working on something she couldn't see. "Is this seat taken?" she'd asked, balancing her coffee and briefcase. He looked up. "It's yours if you want it." That was Mark. Simple. Calm. No games. They talked for 20 minutes. Then an hour. Then suddenly it was dark outside, and the barista was stacking chairs. Sarah liked that he listened. Really listened. Not like the guys at her office who only talked about themselves. Mark liked that she had fire. Dreams. Plans. Within 6 months, they were dating. Within a year, they were married. Back then, Sarah bragged about him differently. "He's steady," she'd tell her friends. "Not flashy, but solid. I need that." What she didn't know, what she never knew, was that Mark wasn't just solid. He was everything. Mark came from old money. Not the loud kind that shows up in tabloids. The quiet kind. The kind that built libraries and hospitals without their names on them. His grandfather started an investment firm in the 1960s. His father expanded it into tech before anyone knew what Silicon Valley was. By the time Mark turned 18, his trust fund had more zeros than most people see in their lifetimes. But Mark hated that world. He watched his parents chase deals and status until they forgot how to talk to each other. He watched friends become sharks, measuring worth by bank accounts. So when he turned 25, Mark made a choice. He stepped back. He put his fortune in the hands of lawyers and managers he trusted, people who move his money quietly through investments, donations, and ventures. He kept enough to live comfortably, very comfortably, but he stopped flashing around. He wanted to know what real life felt like, what real people felt like. He became an IT consultant. Decent money, flexible hours, no spotlight. And when he met Sarah, he didn't tell her, not because he wanted to trick her, but because he wanted her to see him, not his money. He thought she did. For the first 3 years, everything was fine. Sarah climbed at her firm. Mark supported her. He'd cook dinner when she worked late. He'd rub her shoulders when she stressed about presentations. He'd tell her she was brilliant when she doubted herself. "You're going to run that company one day," he'd say. She'd laugh. "You really think so?" "I know so." And she did rise. Fast. But somewhere along the way, the Sarah who smiled at him in coffee shops started disappearing. It started small. "Why don't you push for a promotion?" Sarah asked one night over dinner. Mark shrugged. "I'm happy where I am." "Happy?" She said it like the word was dirty. "Mark, you've been doing the same thing for 4 years. Don't you want more?" "More what?" "More everything. More money, more respect, more ambition." He looked at her carefully. "I have everything I need." She shook her head. "That's the problem. You're too comfortable." The comments grew sharper. My boss drives a Tesla. What do you drive again? Jessica's husband just bought her a beach house. Must be nice to have a partner who provides. I got invited to the executive retreat. Spouses are invited too, but I don't know if I should bring you. It's a lot of important people. Each word landed like a small cut, not enough to bleed out, just enough to sting. Mark never fought back. He just gnawed, smiled, changed the subject. But inside, something was shifting. Here's what Sarah didn't know. That promotion she got in year 4, the one that saved her career, her company was bleeding money. 2 board members wanted to shut down her entire division. An anonymous investor pumped in $3 million. Saved the whole department. That investor was Mark. The luxury investor party she got invited to a year later, the one where she networked her way into big leagues. Funded by a shell company Mark owned. He made sure her name was on the VIP list. When her side business, a boutique consulting gig, nearly collapsed because a major client pulled out, a mysterious new client appeared out of nowhere. Paid triple rate. Kept her afloat for 8 months. Also Mark. He wasn't sabotaging her. He wasn't controlling her. He was testing her, watching to see if success would change her, hoping it wouldn't. But it did. By year 6, Sarah wasn't hiding her disgust anymore. "You embarrass me," she said one morning, not even looking up from her phone. Mark was making coffee. He stopped mid-pour. "What?" "My friends ask about you. What am I supposed to say?" "Oh," he fixes computers. "I don't fix computers. I consult on." "Nobody cares, Mark." She finally looked at him, her eyes cold. "You're boring. You have no drive. I'm out here building a legacy and you're just existing." He set down the coffee pot. "I thought we were building a life together." She laughed. Actually laughed. "A life? Mark, I'm carrying this whole relationship on my back. The apartment? I pay most of the rent. The vacations? My bonuses. You contribute the bare minimum. I've never asked you to pay for anything. Because you can't. You don't have anything to contribute." She grabbed her purse, her coat, her keys. "I'm going to the office. Try not to be useless today." The door slammed. Mark stood in the kitchen for a long time. Then he made a call. "Tom," Mark said when his lawyer picked up, "I need you to set something up." "What kind of something?" Tom asked carefully. He'd known Mark since college. He knew that tone. "A test." "Mark, she doesn't love me, Tom. She loves what she thinks she's built. I need to know for sure." Silence on the other end. "What do you need?" Tom finally asked. Mark told him. 2 months later, Sarah came home glowing. "You're not going to believe this," she gushed, tossing her bag on the couch. For the first time in months, she looked at Mark like he was actually there. "What happened?" he asked. "Our company just landed the biggest investor we've ever had. Anonymous, but they dropped millions. My boss said it's because of the work I've been doing. They see potential in me." Mark smiled. "That's great, Sarah." "Great? It's everything. This means I'm untouchable now. They're not touching my division. I might even get another promotion." She poured herself wine, laughing. "I told you I'd make it. I told you I didn't need anyone holding me back." The words hung in the air. Mark just nodded. The final blow came at her office holiday party. Sarah insisted Mark come. Just this once. Try to look presentable. He wore a suit. A nice one, though she didn't notice. The event was in a downtown ballroom. Chandeliers and champagne towers. Everyone dressed like they'd walked off magazine covers. Sarah introduced him to exactly no one. She spent the whole night glued to her boss and co-workers, laughing too loud, touching arms, playing the part. Mark stood by the bar, watching. At one point, Sarah's friend Jessica walked over. "You're Mark, right?" "Yeah. Sarah talks about you." He raised an eyebrow. "Does she?" Jessica shifted uncomfortably. "Look, I don't know your situation, but she says you're holding her back, that you're not on her level." Mark took a sip of water. "And what do you think?" Jessica looked at him, really looked, and for a second, something flickered in her eyes. Sympathy, maybe, I think, she said slowly, that people don't always see what's right in front of them. She walked away. An hour later, Sarah was drunk, loud. "Mark!" she called across the room, her voice cutting through the music. People turned. He walked over. "Yeah." She stumbled a little, laughing. "Everyone, this is my husband." She said it like it was a punchline. Her boss, a silver-haired man named Richard, smiled politely. "Nice to meet you, Mark. What do you do?" Before Mark could answer, Sarah cut in. "IT stuff. Small contracts. Nothing major." Richard's smile tightened. Well, every job matters." Sarah laughed again, too loud. "Sure, every job matters. But some matter more, right?" Mark's jaw tightened. She leaned into Richard, whispering something Mark couldn't hear. Richard laughed. Mark turned and walked out. Sarah came home at 2 a.m. Mark was awake, sitting on the couch. "You left," she said, her words slurred. "You made it pretty clear I didn't belong there." She kicked off her heels. "Oh, don't be dramatic." "Dramatic? You're sensitive, Mark. Always have been. I was having fun. That party was important for my career. And I was what? A prop?" She rolled her eyes. "You're making this about you again." "It is about me, Sarah. You humiliated me." "Humiliated?" She laughed, sharp and cruel. "Mark, you humiliate yourself just by showing up. Do you know what people think when they meet you? They think, that's the best she could do? I work with titans. And I go home to you." He stood up slowly. "So, what are you saying?" She looked him dead in the eye. "I'm saying I'm ashamed of you. You're way below my level. And I'm tired pretending you're not." The room went silent. Mark didn't yell, didn't cry, didn't beg. He just nodded. "Okay," he said quietly. "Okay." She blinked, surprised. "That's it? No fight? What's there to fight about, Sarah? You've made yourself clear." She stared at him for a long moment. Then she grabbed her phone and walked to the bedroom. "I'm staying at Jessica's tomorrow. I need space." The door closed. Mark sat back down. His phone buzzed. Message from Tom. "It's ready whenever you say the word." Mark typed back. "Now." Sarah woke up at Jessica's apartment with a headache that felt like her skull was splitting open. She grabbed her phone. 12 missed calls from Mark. "Ugh," she muttered, scrolling past them. But then she saw something else. A notification from their joint bank account. The one they barely use anymore because Sarah had moved most of her money into her own accounts. Account updated. $47 million. Sarah's heart stopped. She blinked, refreshed the app. The number didn't change. $47 million. What the? She whispered. Her hands shook as she opened the transaction details. Wire transfer M. Harrison Personal Holdings. Memo. Account consolidation. Mark's name. Mark's transfer. Sarah's mind raced. Her first thought wasn't confusion. It wasn't concern. It was excitement. "He's been hiding money," she said out loud, her voice rising. "This whole time." She jumped out of bed, nearly tripping over Jessica's cat. Jessica emerged from the kitchen with coffee. "You okay? You look like you saw a ghost." "Mark," Sarah breathed, showed her phone. "Look at this. Look." Jessica's eyes went wide. "Is that real?" "It's in our joint account. It just showed up this morning." Jessica scrolled through the details, her face shifting from shock to something more careful. "Sarah, why would he move this much money now? After everything you said last night?" Sarah wasn't listening. She was already texting. "Mark, we need to talk. ASAP." 3 dots appeared immediately. "I'm at the apartment." Sarah grabbed her coat. The drive back to the penthouse took 20 minutes, but it felt like 20 seconds. Sarah's mind was spinning. $47 million. Her husband, her boring, useless, below-her-level husband, had $47 million. "Why didn't he tell me?" she muttered, weaving through traffic. "Why did he let me think?" She stopped, because suddenly a new thought crept in. What if he was planning to leave her? What if this was him moving money around before filing for divorce? Her stomach twisted. No, she said firmly. No, he wouldn't. He needs me. But her hands were shaking when she pulled into the parking garage. Mark was sitting on the couch when she walked in. Same spot as last night, like he hadn't moved. He looked up. Calm. Too calm. Hi, Sarah. Don't hi, Sarah me, she snapped, slamming the door. What the hell is going on? You'll have to be more specific. She shoved her phone in his face. This $47 million. Mark, where did this come from? He glanced at the screen. Oh, that. Her voice was climbing. You've been sitting on this kind of money while you told me I was useless? He finished quietly. While you said I was below your level? Sarah's mouth opened, closed. That's not, I was upset. I didn't mean. You meant it, Mark said, standing. You've meant it for years. But I let it slide because I thought maybe if I waited, you'd remember why you married me. Mark. But you didn't. You just got meaner, more ashamed. So I made a decision. Her heart was pounding. What decision? He walked to the window, looking out over the city. I needed to see something. I needed to know if the woman I married was still in there, or if she was really gone. What are you talking about? He turned back to her. That money in the account? It's mine. Always has been. I moved it there last night. Sarah's brain stuttered. Yours? How is it yours? Because I've had it the whole time, Sarah, since before we met. The room tilted. You what? Mark's voice was steady, detached, like he was explaining something to a child. My family has money. A lot of it. I've never needed to work. I chose to, because I want a normal life. I wanted to meet someone who saw me, not my bank account. Sarah couldn't breathe. You lied to me? I never lied. You never asked. You let me think. I let you think what, Sarah? That I was normal? I am. That I didn't care about money? I don't. You're the one who made a problem. She staggered backward. I built my career. I worked for everything. Did you? The question hung in the air like a bomb. Sarah froze. What does that mean? Mark pulled out his phone, scrolled, turned it toward her. Your company's anonymous investor? The one who saved your division 4 years ago? That was me. $3 million. Sarah's face went white. The luxury networking event you bragged about? Funded by a shell company I own. I made sure you got invited. No. Your side business? The mystery client who paid triple rate and kept you afloat? Also me. Sarah's legs gave out. She sank onto the couch. You're lying, she whispered. Mark pulled up documents on his tablet. Receipts. Transfers. Emails from his lawyers. Every single paper trail. Time-stamped and verified. He handed it to her. Sarah's hands shook as she scrolled. Her eyes scanned words that made no sense, except they did. Investor agreement. Harrison Holdings. Consulting contract. Harrison Ventures, LLC. Wire transfer. $150,000. Project. S. Harrison Business Development. Her name. His money. Over and over and over. I don't understand, she choked out. Why would you? Because I loved you, Mark said simply. I wanted you to succeed. I thought if you had the support you needed, you'd be happy. And if you were happy, maybe you'd stop looking at me like I was worthless. Tears were streaming down Sarah's face now. But you didn't stop, Mark continued. You just got worse. Every achievement I helped you earn, you used to beat me down. Every door I opened, you walked through and slammed in my face. Mark, I didn't know. And that's exactly the problem. His voice was colder now. You didn't know. You didn't care to know. You assumed I was nothing because I didn't perform for you. You built your entire identity on being better than me. But your whole life, your level, it was built on my money. Sarah was sobbing now, her body shaking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Are you? Mark asked, or are you sorry you got caught? She looked up at him, tears blurring her vision. What do you mean? He sat down across from her. Let me ask you something, Sarah. When you saw that money in the account this morning, what was your first thought? She didn't answer. Was it, oh no, why is Mark moving money around? Is he okay? Or was it something else? Her silence was damning. You thought you'd won, didn't you? Mark said softly. You thought, finally, he came through? Finally, I'm getting what I deserve. You texted me like we were fine. Like last night didn't happen. Because suddenly, I wasn't useless anymore. I was useful. Sarah covered her face with her hands. That money in the account? Mark said, standing. It was a test. I wanted to see what you'd do when you thought you'd finally gotten what you wanted from me. Her head snapped up. A test. And you failed. Mark walked to the door. Wait. Sarah scrambled to her feet. Where are you going? Away from you. The money is already gone, Mark said calmly. It transferred back out an hour ago. Every penny. My lawyers documented everything. Your reaction, your texts, your immediate shift in attitude. All of it. Sarah's face went from pale to red. You set me up? I gave you a choice, Mark corrected. And you chose exactly who you are. You can't just, this isn't fair. Fair. Mark laughed. And it was the saddest sound Sarah had ever heard. You want to talk about fair? I supported you for 7 years. I lifted you up every single day. And you threw it back in my face. I loved you. No, Sarah. You loved what you thought I could become. You never loved me. He opened the door. Don't call. Don't text. My lawyer will be in touch about the divorce. Divorce? Sarah's voice cracked. Mark, please. He paused, looking back one last time. You said I was below your level. You were right. I was below it because your level is shallow, empty, and built on lies you told yourself. I'm not interested in living there anymore. The door closed. Sarah stood in the center of the apartment, surrounded by designer furniture and luxury she could barely afford on her own. Her phone buzzed. Account updated. $0. She sank to the floor and screamed. 3 months later, Sarah's world didn't fall apart all at once. It crumbled, slowly, painfully. The first crack came at work. 2 weeks after Mark left, her boss called her into his office. Sarah, we need to talk about the Harrison account. She blinked. What account? Our major investor, M. Harrison Holdings. They're pulling out. Her stomach dropped. What? Why? Richard sighed. They didn't give a reason. Just said they're reallocating resources. Without that funding, he looked at her carefully. We're going to have to make some cuts. Cuts? Your division is on the chopping block. I'm sorry. Sarah was demoted within a month. Her corner office became a cubicle. Her team of 12 became a team of 3. The invitations to executive events stopped coming. Her friends stopped calling. Her side business collapsed next. The mystery client, her biggest account, sent a polite email. We've decided to move in a different direction. Thank you for your work. Without that income, Sarah couldn't afford the apartment. She moved into a smaller place, then an even smaller one. She sold the designer bags, the shoes, the jewelry. It wasn't enough. Jessica was the only one who still talked to her. I don't get it, Sarah said one night, sitting in Jessica's living room with cheap wine. How did everything fall apart so fast? Jessica looked at her for a long time. Sarah, do you really not see it? See what? It wasn't your success. It was never your success. Sarah's face hardened. That's not true. I worked. You did work, Jessica said gently. But Mark gave you the platform, the safety net, the opportunities. And when he pulled it away, there was nothing left holding you up. So what? I'm just supposed to be grateful? He lied to me. He loved you, Jessica interrupted. And you treated him like dirt. I watched it happen, Sarah. We all did. You thought you were hot stuff, but you were mean, really mean. And now you're paying for it. Sarah left without finishing her wine. 6 months later, Sarah was walking through downtown Chicago when she saw him. Mark. He was sitting at a cafe. Their cafe, the one where they met, with a woman. She was laughing at something he said, her hand on his arm. Sarah's heart clenched. She started to walk over. Stopped, because Mark looked happy, not the tired, worn down happy he used to fake around her. Real happy. Light. Free. The woman said something, and he threw his head back, laughing. Sarah felt something break inside her chest. She turned and walked away before he could see her. 1 year later, Sarah rebuilt. Slowly. She got a job at a smaller firm. Decent pay. No corner office, but honest work. She went to therapy. Dealt with her ego, her shame, her cruelty. She learned to apologize. To herself and to the people she'd hurt. One afternoon, she sent Mark an email. I know you don't want to hear from me. I understand. But I need to say this. I'm sorry. For everything. You deserve better. You always did. I hope you're happy. Really. S. She didn't expect a response. 3 days later, she got one. Thank you. I hope you find what you're looking for too. M. That was it. No anger. No bitterness. Just closure. Sarah cried for an hour. Not because she lost him, but because she finally understood what she'd thrown away. Mark was sitting in his new apartment. Smaller, quieter, when Tom called. She emailed you? Yeah. You gonna respond? Mark looked out the window. The city was still the same. But he wasn't. I already did. Tom was quiet for a moment. Do you regret it? The test. Mark thought about it. No. I needed to know. And now I do. She's struggling. You know that, right? I know. Does that bother you? Mark sighed. It does. But not enough to go back. She didn't love me, Tom. She loved what she thought I should be. And when she found out who I really was, she didn't love that either. She loved the money. Think she's changed. Maybe people can change. But it's not my job to find out. Tom laughed. Cold. No, Mark said quietly. Just done. He hung up. His phone buzzed. A text from Emma, the woman from the cafe. Dinner tonight? Mark smiled. Absolutely. He grabbed his coat and walked out into the sunlight. Behind him, the past stayed where it belonged. Sarah saw the announcement 6 months later. Philanthropist Marcus Harrison donates $10 million to Chicago Youth Education Fund. The photo showed Mark shaking hands with the mayor, smiling, confident. The article mentioned his quiet legacy of giving and his decades-long commitment to helping others. Sarah closed her laptop. She didn't feel angry or jealous, just sad, because she'd had a man who changed lives. And she told him he wasn't enough. You know what the real tragedy is? Sarah spent 7 years measuring Mark's worth by the wrong scale. She wanted noise. He gave her quiet strength. She wanted flash. He gave her foundation. She wanted him to prove himself. But he'd already proven everything. Just not to her. Because he didn't need to. The people he helped? They knew. The lives he changed? They knew. But Sarah? She was too busy looking down to see what was right beside her. And by the time she looked up, he was gone. So here's the lesson. Don't confuse silence for weakness. Don't mistake humility for failure. Because the strongest people, they don't need to announce themselves. They just move quietly, powerfully, changing the world while others are busy taking selfies. And if you're lucky enough to have someone like that in your life, don't treat them like they're below your level. Because one day, you'll look around and realize they were never below you. You were never above them. You were just too blind to see you were standing on their shoulders the whole time. If this story hit you, smash that like button right now. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment telling me what you learned. And subscribe, because stories like this, they don't come around every day. I'll see you in the next one. Stay humble, stay kind, and never, ever underestimate the quiet ones. The end.